Welcome to Bhakti Steps. We're reading Bhagavad Gita. We'll chant these prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramritam Yena Tasmai Shri Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vande Ham Shri Guruho Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakhan Vidhamsha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So again, welcome to Bhakti Steps. Yesterday we all celebrated Janmashtami. So today is Prabhupada Appearance Day. On this day, we'll continue reading our Bhagavad Gita, where we had just completed 16th chapter, and we are supposed to start with 17th chapter. Okay. So in the 16th chapter, what we ended was the divine and demoniac qualities. In the Yoga of Supreme, in the 15th chapter, Krishna talked about inverted tree, where the roots are growing upwards and branches are going downwards. That's the tree of the Vedas, the tree in the material world. And the Vedas gives various karma kanda, jnana kanda, dhyana kanda, where you can go up and down the tree. And then what qualities take us to up the tree to the root, and what qualities take us down to the tree into the animal species, into demonic species, was discussed in 16th chapter. Divine quality, demoniac quality. Anger, lust, greed, demonic quality. Divine quality is there's a bigger list of divine qualities. All these of that: no envy, not anxious for one's honor, fortitude, cleanliness, aversion to fault finding, like that. And in the end of the 16th chapter, Krishna talks about scriptural injunctions. If they discard, then they won't achieve happiness, neither the supreme destination, etc. Now, the demoniac, they completely disregard the scriptures, and the divine, the good people, they accept the scriptures. Now, in between the two, there are certain people who accept certain scriptures, certain part of the scriptures, they have faith in it, and certain they don't have faith in it. So, what is their goal? What is um, how they advance, or what kind of results they get? So that is the part of the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. 17.1, Arjuna inquired, "O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scriptures but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, passion, or ignorance?" So he's asking of those who may not fully follow the scriptures and they worship by their own imagination. Like the African tribal people, they have their worship of very imaginary things, right? So what happens to them? Okay, just check. Okay, sure. So can you read this section?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
In the 4th chapter, 39th verse, it is said that a person faithful to a particular type of worship gradually becomes elevated to the stage of knowledge and attains the highest perfection stage of peace and prosperity. In the 16th chapter, It is concluded that one who does not follow the principle laid down in the scriptures is called an asura, demon, and one who follows the scriptural injunction faithfully is called a deva or demigod. Now, if one with faith follow some rules which are not mentioned in the scriptural injunction, what is his position? This doubt of Arjuna is to be cleared by Krishna. Are those who create some sort of go- God by selecting a human being and placing their faith in him, worshipping in God, goodness, passion, or ignorance. Do such persons attain the perfectional stage of life? Is it possible for them to be situated in real knowledge and elevate themselves to the highest perfection stage? Do those who do not follow the rules and regulation of the scriptures but who have faith in something and worship gods and demigods and men attain success in their effort? Arjun is putting these questions to Krishna.
Okay. So, so the thing is, the hint of this question is in the second part. Are they in goodness, passion, ignorance? So the modes will control what is, how one approaches the scriptures, and what kind of results they get and how they elevate. So, like if we remember, goodness will result in good, passion and ignorance will result in misery and madness. Goodness will take us in the heavenly planets, passionates will take us to such planets where uh, there is a lot of karma kanda, and ignorance will take us to animal kingdom, demonic planets. So, same thing Krishna will tell now. According to the modes of nature acquired by embodied soul, one faith can be in three kinds. So the word used is faith. So let me just go there. Trivida bhavati shraddha. So the word shraddha is defined as faith, but shraddha is something we put a trust in a sublime, That means it is something within our heart. In goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now hear about this. So modes are acquired by the embodied soul. Either he is in goodness plus passion plus ignorance and various combinations of it. Similarly, his faith will also be reflecting that. Getting? Yesterday
Hmm.
in Janmashtami, we met so many people. Did all of them had faith in Krishna?
No, no.
Yeah. So they had varied faith in Krishna. Some had 80%, 90%. Some were in doubt. Some were in 50%. Some were 20%. Some were 10%. And some had no zero faith. One person came right at the end, like 12:30 in the midnight, and his only point was, where is the food? He just
Hmm.
came and he asked, and as he went by, I could smell alcohol. I could smell alcohol from his mouth. So let me just I could smell alcohol from his mouth. So various people approach the scriptures also similar way only. Those who know the rules and regulations in scripture, but out of laziness or indolence, give up these rules and regulations governed by the modes of material nature. Now, even though we may get different kinds of modes, material nature, but if we associate with a devotee, and especially with a pure devotee who is a spiritual master, and listen to him, then we will change from ignorance to goodness, and ignorance and passion to goodness. In the association of a devotee, we can do this, all these changes. So these modes may be there, but in the association of devotees, we will change. Okay. So that's the point Prabhupada Acharyas are telling, that fine, the modes will drive us here and there. But if we get association of devotees, then there'll be change of heart. And we always discuss the example of Ramayana. The one who wrote Ramayana is Valmiki Rishi. And Valmiki Rishi, in his previous life, before he became Rishi, he was a dacoit. That means he was in ignorance. But with the association of a guru, who was his guru? Valmiki Rishi's guru is?
Narad.
Yeah. So with the association of such a great devotee of the Lord, the Shuddha Bhakta of the Lord, he abide from his rules. Whatever instructions were given by Narad Muni, he followed that. And then he himself wrote the biggest scripture. What is the scripture he wrote? Ramayana. Right? So one can change these modes by associating with devotees, especially with the guru and listening to him. O son of Bharata, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. So that particular mode, it gives a certain kind of faith in goodness, in passion, in ignorance. The living being is said to be of particular faith according to mode he has acquired. Hmm? So what mode he has, he will have that kind of faith, and he will look everything with the eyes of that faith. Okay, there are some sections. Okay. Okay, let me read this section. Yeah. The word Shraddha or faith is very significant in this verse. Shraddha or faith originally comes out of mode of goodness. One's faith may be in demigod or some created god or some mental concoction. One strong faith is supposed to be productive of the work of material goodness. But in the material condition life, no work are completely purified. They are mixed. That is not pure goodness. Pure goodness is transcendental. In purified goodness, one can understand the real nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As long as one's faith is not in completely purified goodness, the faith is subjected to contamination by the modes of material nature. Okay, unless we are Shuddha Bhakta, our faith, our Shraddha, our something that, our, what to say, our internal feelings and internal trust that we put is is contaminated by that particular mode. So I'll give you a very nice example. Uh, that there was this story happens to be in Vishnu Puran, I suppose Vishnu Puran, Padma Puran, whatever. So there was this merchant who throughout his life was selling cloth merchant, and he earned also very much. But his whole mind was into earning, and he had childrens. And when he became old, the children took over the business, and they were married and had grandchildren, etc. And then the children were of good nature, they were religious, so they were thinking, now father has become old and we have taken over the business, now he should do some pilgrimage, some spiritual activity. But whenever they discussed with their father, the father was not at all interested. Once what happened is a brahmana came to their house, and he was saying, I'm going to Kashi. And they all felt, okay, we can send our father with him, pilgrimage. So the father agreed somehow, and they both went to Kashi. When they reached Kashi, you know what happens at Kashi? Dead bodies are burned. There's a ghat over there where all dead bodies are burned. Why? Because Lord Shiva, Bhagwan Shiva, he says, if you die here, I will chant the name of Ram in your ears. So that's why it is considered very auspicious to die in Kashi. So many bodies were coming every day and they were getting burned. So he looked at that and tears came from his eyes. So then the Brahmana thought, yes, this is working. Life, death, karma, all these things are maybe, he's understanding all these things. Now he's realizing it. So when they reached the room, the Brahmana asked him, what made him so moved and why was he crying? Then the businessman said, I did the biggest mistake in my life. And the Brahmana said, what kind of mistake you did? He said, I never knew that wood was in so much demand. If I knew that wood was in so much demand, I would have done business in wood and become even more richer. So you see, his faith was in passion, right? So everything he saw with that passion only. Getting? So that's how the one's faith is colored. It is not pure. And we have different types of faith in this world, and there are different types of religion also. So because of this, there are different other religions also. Hmm? Okay. Now we will go a little faster. So now in the modes who are in goodness will worship the devatas. In the passion, they will worship the demons. In mode of ignorance, they will worship ghosts and spirit. Sometimes we hear this police case where they were trying to make human sacrifice. Have you heard about this? Human sacrifice? In some tantra or something, they do human sacrifice. So those are faith in mode of goodness. Sorry, ignorance. Sorry, where they are worshipping ghosts and spirit. And the demons are like sometimes we see temples of cricketers or movie stars. So that is all in mode of passion. And the devatas are in worship of devatas is a goodness. Any question here? You can interrupt me. Okay, I'll go a little faster. And one who is in Shuddha Sattva, beyond the three modes, we worship Vasudev, that is Krishna. We'll go a little faster. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and who torture the material element of the body, as well as the super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. So demons are who? They do severe austerity and penances, which are not recommended in the scriptures. Like there was this one person who would cut flesh and put it in the fire to please Lord Shiva. This is not recommended in the scriptures. You should not torture one's body. And he was doing with pride and egoism, impelled with lust and attachment. I want to enjoy this world. After that, after this person, he got benediction from Lord Shiva. So he asked Lord Shiva, "You give me benediction. Whoever's head I keep my hand, he will turn into ash." And then Lord Shiva said, "Okay, you will have this power." And then he said, "I'll put my hand on your head only, Lord Shiva." So he started running, and Shiva started running. So impelled by foolishness, impelled by egoism, pride, lust, hmm, they will torture their own body as well as the super soul within. These are known as demons. One of the things is that fasting upvas is for spiritual advancement. It is not for some political end or social purpose, hartal and all that. We see many such people. These are all unauthorized fasting. So one should avoid it. If we get guided by spiritual master who is expert in Vedic knowledge, then we can come out of this entanglement and ultimately achieve the supreme goal. Now, even the food each person prefers is of three kinds, according to the three modes of material nature. Even sacrifices, austerity, charity. All these three are in the three modes. The food, the sacrifice, austerity, charity, like that. Now, food that is dear to those who are in mode of goodness, increases duration of life, purifies one's existence, gives strength, health, happiness, satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to heart. What kind of food is Krishna mentioning here? Which is increases duration of life, purifies one's existence, gives strength. It's juicy, fatty, wholesome, pleasing to heart.
Sattvic food, Prabhuji.
Yeah, sattvic food. What all is there in sattvic food?
Uh,
Fruits
Fruits,
and vegetables.
And foods, fruits, vegetable, milk, grains,
Yeah.
right? All these things are there. Now, foods that are too bitter, too sour, too salty, hot, pungent, dry, burning are those in the mode of passion. They cause distress, misery, and disease. What kind of food is mentioned here? Too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry. What do you think? What kind of foods are mentioned here? Food that is
What is
having.
it? Easy,
Spicy, spicy
easy
food.
to digest and
Sorry?
जो डाइजेस्ट करने के लिए इजी होगा और जो हमारे बॉडी को अच्छा रहेगा मतलब ज्यादा हॉट जो भी चीज ज्यादा हो जाए ना तो वो बोलते हैं ना वो हमेशा भी अच्छा ही नहीं होता बस
Well, what kind of foods are there in mode of passion? Which
और
are
ज्यादा ज्यादा स्पाइसी ज्यादा
right?
गरम ज्यादा
Spicy, too much hot. Any name of any dish that you want to specify here?
चटपटा लाइक
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes chatpata are too salty. Yes.
Pizza, burger, etc. Prabhuji.
Yeah, of course. Pizza, burger is there. How do they cause misery and disease and distress?
Indigestion problem.
Yes.
हाँ प्रभु जी जैसे कि ज्यादा गर्म खाने से हमारा मुंह भी तो जल जाता
जल
है ना
जाता है,
तभी
right? Yes. Yeah, that is there. Diabetes, cholesterol. These are also
हम्म,
diseases, right? High cholesterol, high diabetes. So those who are in mode of passion, they get attracted to such kind of foods. Um, Pan masala. What happens when one eats those pan masala or
हाँ वो पान
Prabhuji,
में जो
supari? Supari. Do you know
हाँ हाँ
what happens? What kind of diseases you get?
हम्म,
cancer, etc.
Yeah,
Mouth
mouth
cancer.
cancer. Mouth cancer होता है. Okay. Food which is prepared more than 3 hours before eating. Food that is tasteless, decomposed, putrid, and food consists of remnants, untouchable thing is dear to the mode of darkness. What kind of food is mentioned here? Mode of darkness food.
Prabhuji, basi food and
Mm-hmm.
non-veg, non-veg, etc.
Yeah, non-veg, non-vegetarian food. Anything more?
जला हुआ खाना होगा कुछ जो
Jala
बर्निंग हो
hua.
गया
Yeah. That also. Anything more?
और
Alcohol.
जो रहेगा है हाँ अल्कोहल भी है
Alcohol. Alcohol is grape juice fermented over many months. Right? Or it is made of barley or beer or something, it's made of barley or wheat, right? It's fermented. Uh, so, what is the result of mode of darkness? Madness. So, eating all this non veg and alcohol, what happens? Person is kind of mad only. If he drives a car, he will hit somebody, right? Chances are more. Becomes like 90, 80, 99% chances there. So I'm just skipping this, such section. Okay. Now it says more than 3 hours. Now if somebody goes to Tirupati, gets the Tirupati laddu, which is older for like 3 4 days. Should we throw it away? Oh, this is more than 3 hours. Tirupati laddu.
नॉट प्रभु जी दैट उसमें नहीं होता है क्योंकि उसका प्रिपरेशन का तरीका कुछ अलग होता है मतलब उस प्रिजर्वेटिव एज ए घी या शुगर जो रहता है वो प्रिजर्वेटिव रहता है प्रभु जी
Okay.
जैसे नॉर्मल फूड जो स्पाइस माने जो सॉल्टी होता है स्पेशली इस
Yeah,
बोला
yeah,
जाता
yeah,
है
yeah,
कि
yeah, yeah,
विद
yeah, yeah.
विद
Certain
इन
certain
आवर खा
food.
लेना चाहिए ऑफ कोर्स
Right.
उसका टेस्ट अगर खराब नहीं होता है लेकिन वो खराब हो जाता है
Yes, yes, that is one answer. Let's say devotee prepares food and he eats the next day. So according to that, mode of darkness is there. Basi. He keeps it in the fridge, eats it the next day or something. So such a rule of this more than 3 hours, right, is not applied to prasadam. Prasad is sanctified. Okay. Only when we have to, when we cannot consume prasadam, when it has gone bad, right? When there is fungus on it or it has just gone bad, then we cannot consume. Okay, so prasadam is like, need not follow this 3 hour rule. Of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed according to the direction of the scriptures as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward is in mode of goodness. So sacrifices, 11, right? I'll just go there. Yagya. So the word is yagya. So these yagyas that were performed, they are performed according to direction of scriptures as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward. Is in nature of is of the nature of goodness. So sattva gun mein, when one performs sacrifice, it is according to the scripture. Fine. It's a matter of duty and no desire for reward. Can you comment on this? It's just done as a duty, but not reward. People call for Satyanarayan Puja, right? Satyanarayan Yagya happens at home. Satyanarayan Katha happens. Is it in mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance?
प्रभु जी, ये सब पूजा होता है किसी कारण से कुछ मांगने के लिए या किसी इच्छा से हम लोग जो पूजा करते हैं.
Right. So the thing is, when there is no ichha and it is just done as a duty, it is in goodness. Okay. When there is some ichha, then it is not in goodness. So all the sacrifices, puja, everything should be done as a matter of duty. But then we have ichha. So then how to resolve this? It says don't keep this desire. But then we have the desires and we want to do this. Then how to reconcile both? Yeah? How to reconcile? So the way it is reconciled is if we do it as a duty, okay, and whatever desire we have, we pray to Krishna that if you want to fulfill, then only you fulfill. Otherwise, I will accept whatever result you have, that will come. Getting? So desire has two ways of desiring. One is I want this means I want this. Without this, I cannot live. Right? Second is I desire this. Definitely I desire this. But I leave it to Krishna. If he wants to give, he gives. If he doesn't want to give, no problem. I am not disturbed by it. Getting?
हाँ प्रभु जी, जैसे कि कोई मानता है ना कि अगर ये हो जाए तो तभी मैं ये करवाऊंगी, नहीं तो नहीं.
नहीं तो नहीं, right? But our case is not like that.
हाँ, हम लोग होगा तो ठीक है, नहीं भी तो हम लोग को कृष्णा की सेवा तो करना ही है.
हाँ. See, we have a great acharya in our line, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So in the 1850s, he desired for a child. So he prayed to Durga Devi, who is inside the temple of Jagannath Puri. Her name is Bimla over there. To send a child, a son, who would be the ray of Vishnu. Who will be the Ansh of Vishnu. Like that, the ray of Vishnu. And he got Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj as his son. So he had a desire, and Krishna fulfilled that desire. Getting? But he always connected that desire with Krishna. If Krishna wants to give. And if he gives, then I will give that child back to Krishna by making him a devotee. So Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, he was his son. He became a great devotee. Like that. So if we get something also, we give it back to Krishna. We put it back in Krishna's service. Getting? That's how we reconcile. But the sacrifice is performed for some material benefit, for the sake of pride. Oh, chief, we should know to be in mode of passion. See, the benefit is of material nature. Or let's say, I want to do this sacrifice for some material benefit. So here there is some selfishness, right? There is some selfishness in this. When there is selfishness, there is mode of passion. And sometimes it is sake of pride. Pride means, ye maine kiya, right? I did it. So you get some respect in the society, isn't it? So if it is done for these motives, then it is in mode of passion. And now mode of ignorance. What is it? Any sacrifice performed without the regards of the scriptures. One thing is, it doesn't follow the scriptures. Without distribution of prasadam, you don't distribute anything. Prasadam, nothing. Without chanting the Vedic hymns, Vedas are not chanted. Remunerations to the priest, the priests are not given donation. Without faith, I don't think only this is right, but I'm just doing, just to show off. This is in mode of ignorance. What is the result of this? Madness. Now in this section, 14th section, very interesting instructions are there. Austerity of body. Let's go to the technical word, 14th. Any questions or comment before we move forward? Any questions or comment? So we saw yagya. Now we will see tapaha. Tapaha is austerity. Tapa. So tapa is done at the level of body, the level of mind, and the level of speech. Okay. So Krishna is going to talk what it means by doing tapa of the body. Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like father, mother, teacher, uncle, auntie, all these superiors in age also, grandfather, grandmother. And it consists of cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, non-violence. What does cleanliness of the body means? Can you tell me what does cleanliness of the body means?
Taking bath.
Okay, that is external cleanliness. What is internal cleanliness?
Japa.
Japa, Vedic chants, yes. And there is one more cleanliness. What is that? That is sex life. Dharmic sex life is considered clean. Adharmic sex life, illicit sex, is considered unclean. That is another meaning of it. Simplicity. Simplicity means body is not pampered so much. What is needed, that much. Celibacy. Celibacy has two meanings. No contact of women, and if there is a contact of women, it is within only marriage. And non-violence. What does non-violence means? Ahimsa. What does ahimsa means? 2-3 times we discussed this. Even in the first chapter that we discussed, 13th chapter, this ahimsa word came.
Ahimsa is किसी के साथ बुरा नहीं करना, और दूसरा ये भी है कि किसी का बुरा मतलब होता देख के भी चुप रहना, उसकी हेल्प नहीं करना, वो
Yes,
भी
yes,
अहिंसा।
yes. Ahimsa doesn't mean non-violent. It means necessary violence. The violence to protect the weak from the evil. You have to be violent. That is also ahimsa. It is not violence. So when Krishna said ahimsa, ahimsa, ahimsa in Bhagavad Gita so many times, Arjuna did hinsa. After this, he killed so many people. But that is also ahimsa. It is not himsa. It is ahimsa only. How? He killed not for his personal enjoyment, but on the order of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, on the principle of dharma. Duryodhan had cheated him so many times. He went back his promise. He tried to kill them, insulted his wife, took away their kingdom, and left with no option. They had to fight with him, right? Today, if anyone's property is taken up by someone, what do people do? They go and fight it out, right? In the court? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So they some samjhota was tried to be done before the war, but it just failed. Then what happens? Then it is complete war only. Whoever wins will take up. So like that, you know. Okay. Now austerity of speech. This is very interesting. Tapa of speech, vaka, is speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, not agitating to others, and always regularly reciting Vedic literatures. So how to do tapasya of the speech, our vaka, by reciting Vedic literatures? What kind of Vedic literatures can we recite? Any thoughts? What kind of Vedic literatures can we recite?
भगवत गीता और भागवतम प्रभु जी,
Yes, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Anything more?
और भगवान की लीला जिसमें एलाबरेट किया हो।
Yeah, Ramayana, Mahabharata, all Vedic literatures. The Rig Ved, Asur Ved, all this. Why? Because in all the Vedas, Krishna is to be glorified. That's how our speech becomes purified. Speaking words that are truthful. We should always speak truthful words. Pleasing. Don't speak harshly. Avoid it as much as possible. Beneficial. Beneficial. Whatever we speak should be supported by Vedas. Should be supported by common sense. Should not be nonsense. Should be ultimately benefiting the person. Now, what kind of speech is not benefiting the person? It's not beneficial at all. Can you tell me? What kind of speech is not beneficial?
प्रभु, ये जो एक दूसरे की बुराई करते हैं, गप्पे मारते हैं, मतलब कुछ भी।
Yeah. Exactly. You should reduce it as much as possible. Okay, reduce it. Hmm?
जैसे कि बेमतलब की बात है प्रभु जी।
हाँ, बेमतलब की बात है. Right. Not agitating to others. Sometimes politicians speak and they agitate the whole people, right? There are
अब प्रभु जी मतलब जैसे कि आपने कहा कि मतलब भगवान के बारे में ही सिर्फ बातें करना है, या फिर एंटरटेन के लिए मतलब
yeah.
जैसे कि
Okay.
कर सकते वो भी करना अवॉइड कर सकते हैं, या फिर ठीक है किसी के हार्म के लिए नहीं, ऐसे ही मतलब बातें करते हैं पीपल, तो मन किसी की बुराई नहीं है, एटलीस्ट अपने ही हैप्पीनेस के बारे में, तो वो भी क्या गलती है?
So the thing is, it depends on what kind of ashram we are in. Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. So if somebody is in sannyas, right, then he has to be very grave, very serious. Okay. So it is a strict rule for him. Vanaprastha, 95% of the rule applies. Brahmachari, 95% of the rule applies. Now when we talk of Grihastha, there is some concession, because Grihastha life is like that. There is
Yeah.
women, there is children, there is parents, there are relatives and all that. So sometimes joking and all that happens, time pass and all that happens. So it depends on the ashram, okay? That is one way to look at it. Now within Grihastha ashram also, it depends on who you are. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. If you are a Brahmana, your talks will be still very grave. Okay, it won't be loose talks. If you're Kshatriya, some loose talks will be there. That is by nature, right? This is goodness, this is passion, this is passion plus ignorance, this is complete ignorance. So our talks will be like that only. Getting? That is another way to look at it. You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So Krishna is telling austerity of speech will also be according to three modes. Goodness will be, as per the Vedic literatures. You see, if you go to traditional Brahminical families, they are not talking nonsense. Getting? Why? Because they are in mode of goodness. But if you go to business people meeting and all that, those families who are doing business, you will find these people talk sometimes very loosely because they are in passion. And if you go to people who are in Shudra category, they are ignorant, so their talk will be nonsense. So point is, wherever we are, we need to definitely reduce that nonsensical talks. Okay. So galat and all that is now, we can say when it becomes galat, when it becomes nonsense, when it becomes prohibited, when too much time is spent in it. That is one consideration. Too much time, right? Yes or no? You agree on this point? Too much time is spent on it.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. If less time is spent on it, it is fine. Okay, but too much time is problematic. Like sometimes cousins come home, and now we see cousins have come, children are there. The whole night they are talking, and then raat ke 12-1 baje still they are talking. Then somebody senior from the family gets up, knocks the door and say, you have to sleep now, right? Isn't it? Don't this happen in your family?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So there also we know how much nonsense is allowed and how much nonsense is not allowed. Right? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So that's how we decide. Okay, we should be tending towards gravity, but sometimes, but every time it is not required, because we are all married people. We are mostly grihasthas only. Okay, so there will be some concession. But if it becomes too much, then definitely it becomes nonsense. Does that help you to understand how to look at things? Second consideration is it favorable to our spiritual life or not favorable to our spiritual life? That way also we can think. And third thing is, what is our own, which mode we are in? Are we in goodness? Then definitely we'll avoid. If there is some passion in us, then we will allow it. Okay, we will also get in together in it. हम भी flow में चले जाएंगे. When there is ignorance, तो और flow में चले जाएंगे. That is there, because we also have modes, right? We also have modes. But at that point, when we remember our guru's instruction and all that, we should control ourselves. Getting? Does that help, Mataji?
जी जी
Yeah. Yeah. So it is not a hard and fast rule kind of thing. Okay. It is just consideration into different angles, where we are, what we are doing. Okay. Nonsensical talks at temple. तुम कौन से भी मोड में रहने दो, शूद्र रहो, वैश्य रहो, क्षत्रिय रहो, ब्राह्मण रहो, कुछ भी रहो, in a temple if a nonsensical talk is happening, is it galat?
yes Prabhuji, it is wrong.
I'll tell you, in our material life also we do that. Anybody talking nonsense in a class where teacher is teaching, is it allowed?
No Prabhu.
Anybody talking nonsense in a judge court, is it allowed?
No.
So in our material life itself we know कि किधर allowed है, किधर allowed नहीं है. Talking nonsense at home, is it allowed?
yes Prabhu, घर में तो
Yeah.
करते रहते हैं.
करते रहते, right?
Hmm.
When it is not allowed, when it is too late in the night, when it is so much that the neighbors are getting disturbed, when it is so much that the elders are getting disturbed, does that make sense? Now you understand how to use common sense to understand these things.
जी.
Yeah. So we should understand, okay, that we are not sannyasis. Sometimes the rules are given for the sannyasis. Okay, everything doesn't apply. Nahi to, if we try to apply right, we will think, oh, spiritual life is too tough. It is not like that. There is a whole chapter in Bhagavatam where Krishna is joking with Rukmini. Can you imagine? Krishna jokes. I mean, he jokes when he was young, okay? That stories we know, when he was in Vrindavan and all that. But even in married life, he was joking, and there's a big chapter in Bhagavatam where he joked with Rukmini. So, Grahastha life has some concessions. That is the bottom line. Don't take it like so much, अरे गलत है, सब कुछ गलत है, ऐसा नहीं. And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, purification of one's existence are austerity of mind. मन का तपा क्या है? To be satisfied with what we have. If we are unsatisfied, mind will be disturbed. Now what does that mean? It means we put effort to get certain thing. Okay, now by that effort we got some result, and with that result we could buy certain things. Now we should become satisfied. Okay, I put so much effort, I got my result, and with that I could buy certain things and get certain comfort. Then we should be satisfied. You understand? Satisfaction of mind, to be satisfied, right? It should be connected with our effort also. Otherwise, just being satisfied doesn't help. It becomes austerity. It becomes difficult for others also to live. You understand this point?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Simplicity, again, same point. Gravity. Gravity means seriousness. Okay. Depending on the Arna, Varna, Ashram, okay, the seriousness of this gravity also changes. Or the severity of the gravity also. Self-control. Depending on Ashram, Varna, again, self-control means different thing. For sannyasi means no contact of women. For grahastha, there is contact of women. For vanaprastha, there is restricted contact of women. For brahmachari, no contact of women. Like that. Self-control. Or usme self-control, I talked about opposite sex. Now self-control in all other things. Food, enjoyment, everything. Again, the varnas and the ashramas, they will make things little bit concession and, or no concession kind of thing. Purification of one's existence. Purification of one's existence means basically spiritual life. Okay, so now we'll read this section. Can someone read this one highlighted paragraph?
Hare Krishna. The best course is to divert the mind to the Vedic literature, which is full of satisfying stories, as in the Puranas and the Mahabharata. One one can take advantage of this knowledge and thus become purified. The mind should be devoid of duplicity, and one should think of the welfare of all. Silence means that one is always thinking of self realization. The person in Krishna consciousness observes perfect silence in this sense. Control of the mind means detaching the mind from sense enjoyment. One should be straightforward in his dealings and thereby purify his existence. All these qualities together constitutes austerity in mental activities.
Okay. Okay. So you got idea, right? Here certain things Prabhupada is saying. Okay. This threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith by men, not expecting material benefits, but engaged only for the sake of the Supreme, is called austerity in goodness. So when we perform all these austerities for the pleasure of the Supreme, then it is in goodness. Now penances, 18. Penances. Tapa. Okay. Now this penance means according to the scripture, if you do some penance like that. Penance is performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, worship is said to be in mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. So whatever tapasya we do, if we are doing for respect, honor, worship, from people that they should worship me. मैं इतना तपस्या करके आया हिमालय से. They should give me money. मेरे जैसा कोई नहीं है. I am the greatest because I did so much tapasya. Then it is in passion. And what is the result of passion? Misery. If he doesn't get those respect, then he will get disturbed. Penance is performed out of foolishness, which self-torture, destroy, injure others, is to be in mode of ignorance. This is if it is performed out of foolishness, self-torture. We discussed this. Ignorance is madness. Like example is given of Hiranyakashipu. He did so much of penance, but ultimately he died. No? He wanted to become immortal, but he got killed. Now charity. You will see similar definitions. Okay, like similar explanations. Charity, daan dena. Daan. Okay, what does daan mean? Let's go for that. Okay, let's go for the actual meaning. Word that was used. 20. Datta evam eva danam. Yeah, danam is used. Okay, what does danam means? What does dan mean? See, a girl is given in charity, right? Kanya dan. What does dan mean? Let's.
तो जी अपनी कोई चीज दूसरे को देना.
ठीक है, मेरा फटा हुआ कपड़ा है, मैं दूसरे को देता हूँ. इज दैट दान?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, समथिंग जो हम लोग को, जो हमको बहुत प्यारा हो,
Yes.
वो किसी दूसरे को गिफ्ट
Yes.
करते हैं.
Yes. That is the ultimate daan. What is very dear to us, what we have put so much effort in getting, and that we are giving without any reward, is dana. So now you think, what does it mean by kanya dana? This girl, I'm not giving in charity. See, the word charity is not the right word for dana, but English is not a great language. That is the closest word that English can give. But actually dana means something else only. Dana means not just charity, it means the charity of a very cherished thing. Now you get. Now think about kanyadan, this word kanyadan. There is a big controversy going on. How can you give donation? Because why? Because people give donation of phata hua kapda, suki hui roti. So kanyadan, I don't like this girl, take it away. I don't like my daughter, take it away. This is what the understanding is, right? Isn't it? So when people's dana itself is in mode of ignorance, they term kanyadan also as madness only. Isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes.
So what does kanyadan mean then? It means the best in my house, my daughter. Generally in the Vedic times and even in modern times, the daughter is the favorite of the family, especially of the father. Yes or no? She is
Yes, sir.
favorite of two people, father and grandmother. Isn't it? You are either favorite of two favorite of your father or you're two favorite of your grandmother. Somehow. Is that your experience? Anyone? Is that your experience?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right? No?
Hmm.
There was one devotee, he was getting married and they had to catch a train, after marriage they had to go to the boy's house, so this devotee was telling, I married, this girl and she was with me and we were packing bags, we had to take that in the train. Now this story is back in the 90s. Now you can imagine Indian 90s ka Indian railway, okay, and now Bharat hai pura, and now he is worried, I have to take all this saman, I have to take all these boxes and suitcases. He's worried how will it all fit in the train. And there comes the father of the bride. उनकी पत्नी का फादर पिताजी आते हैं और वो बोलते हैं this is for my daughter, please take this. Okay, husband, naya दूल्हा, he takes it, okay, somehow he packs it. After 5 minutes again the father comes, ये भी मेरे प्रिय बेटी के लिए है, and he gives another packet of something and again he packs. And after 5 minutes again he comes, ये भी मेरे बेटी के लिए है, ये भी लेके जाओ. Then the devotee becomes very angry. इतना क्या दे रहे हो यार, कैसे लेके जाऊंगा मैं? But that is the father's love, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So that is Kanyada. So the best of the thing is to be donated. Again, the word donate is not the right word. Because what happens is we are bringing the definition, everything, the gravity of that situation very, very, very low when we use English words. So keeping it true to the Sanskrit word means whatever is the most cherished thing, the most best thing in my house, the one I just don't want to give, I will give. That is dana. That is real charity. So Kanyadan means it's a big thing. It's not a simple thing. Somehow today that controversy has happened over that word, dana. But it's not like that. Unfortunately, some very poor people, they sell their daughters, right? So somehow that has become connected to this dana and all that. But actually, it is not like that. So again, charity which is done out of duty, like kanya ko shadi karana hai, that is a duty of the parent. And there are many other things like charity, giving donation in terms of money, in terms of food. You don't expect anything in return. It is given at a proper time and place, and to a worthy person, to a person who really needs it, or to a person who will really take care of it, like a brahmana. That is all considered in sattva guna. So the result of all this will be sattva guna. It will be good. But if a charity that is performed with expectation of some return, I'll give this donation to you, you make sure my project passes, isn't it? Many people give donation to political parties. Why? Because then they get concessions. When they become government, the government give concessions to certain companies, isn't it? So all this charity is in mode of passion. What it will result in? Misery only. So that's why when the political party comes into it whatever it does, it gives misery to the people, because already that dana has happened in misery only. So misery आएगा उससे, दुखद ही आएगा, because there is expectation of some return. Desire of fruitive results, मुझे कुछ क्या मिलेगा, and then in a grudging mood, not in a mood that is very pleasing, but given in a very bad mood. Instead of happiness by giving, one will feel sad. So what is the point of dana then? Dana should make us happy, right? Okay, last thing. And the charity performed at impure place at an improper time to an unworthy person without proper attention and respect is said to be in mode of ignorance. This is madness. There are some charity for gambling matches. For alcohol, there is charity. Or you may go to certain charities which are sponsored by alcohol companies. We are teaching, we are educating children, and we are having products of beer and alcohol and wine. आप हमें charity दो. Is that matching there? It's madness, right? So such charity at the end is not beneficial. It is actually sinful. That one should avoid. Okay. So let's stop here and open up for some questions or comments. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Okay. There are no questions, comments. We'll meet